seems to get bigger, more astounding, more mind-blowing. In December, 250,000 migrant encounters. It's the highest ever recorded, and data shows that non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, help fund many of their journeys.
Yeah, we talk about this number as a problem, but there are plenty of people out there who want it to be bigger if they can. And who funds those organizations? According to public record, a lot of that money ties back to this guy right here, George Soros. Let's learn more as we go off the wall.
Pete and I were just talking about this heading into this segment. You know, the challenging thing, but maybe also the revealing thing about this segment of Off the Wall is, quite honestly, when I hear the word NGO, the acronym NGO, or the words non-governmental organization, I'm already bored. And I think, to some extent, Pete, that's by design.
That's kind of the point. When you see some of these organizations, their names are very benign, very forgettable, behind the scenes, and that is intentional. But it starts with George Soros. He's a hedge fund guy, made billions, decided in the late 70s, I've made enough money, now I want to pursue philanthropy. And he has a particular philosophy, open society. He doesn't believe countries should have borders. He doesn't think the Western created system is a good one. He wants to deconstruct that system. So the Open Society Foundation, which is what he uses as an umbrella, is an attempt to get rid of borders and push internationalism.
Some specific examples of that, giving $1.3 million just 2 years ago to Haitian and black migrants. But as Pete mentioned, it's a global project. Over $120 million awarded towards international migration initiatives. Before we move on, Soros is the font. He's the fountainhead of many of these movements across the globe. And Pete said, while we often wonder what's his motivation, he's written 15 books to tell you his philosophy.
He has. He's a very specific philosophy where he believes the nation state should dissolve away. The West has been the source of problems. Capitalism has been a problem. And if you just get rid of those borders, utopian harmony, atheistic harmony will unleash. Which in reality, we see when he gets his way, it goes in the other direction.
So we mentioned non-governmental organizations funded by Soros. Let's take a look at some of those organizations. The Immigration Equality Center, the American Immigration Council, and I'm going to bounce all the way to the end as well, the National Immigration Law Center.
They basically sound the same.
And Pete, I think by design your brain starts hearing white noise. What does it all mean? But each and every one of these have a specific purpose, funding a specific vision of America.
That's right. It starts with funding from Soros, and then you'll see in the next slide, then it turns into government funding. What do groups like this do? American Immigration Council, pushing for sanctuary cities, helping to build up the infrastructure for sanctuary cities. What does the National Immigration Law Center focus on, 2016 to 2021? Welfare benefits for illegals. So it's not just helping illegals come across the border. It's how do we make them a permanent presence? And then how do we create a magnet for even more people to come? And they use these organizations to help push it.
Next, take a look at this. The Vera Institute of Justice. This was founded in the 1960s by a group of New York radicals. It was designed, and it has evolved into helping fund the idea of defunding the police. Now, what's fascinating about this as we focus in on Vera is what Pete alluded to just a moment ago. George Soros provides initial funding, which Open Societies has contributed to the Vera Institute. Yes. But not long afterwards, guess who steps in and starts funding these NGOs? How about the government of the United States?
Not just a little bit. There was a contract awarded to the Vera Institute of Justice initially for a couple of, I don't know what the total amount of money was, millions of dollars. If it is re-upped again, they could get up to $983 million from the government to help unaccompanied minors while also fighting to defund the police. So the contracts keep growing because the problem continues, and a George Soros-funded institute works with the government to keep facilitating the problem. That's what George Soros wants.
To the almost tune of $1 billion.
$1 billion.
So now you say, okay, Soros has a specific vision of the future, of the world. He has a specific philosophy. Now the government is helping fund organizations that execute that philosophy. So what are we paying for as American taxpayers? Take a look at these organizations, these NGOs, who again have ties to Vera, who have ties to Open Society. Pete, the Acacia Center for Justice, $41 million from taxpayers. And what does Acacia do?
They fight deportation for illegals. So think about this. Soros is funding an organization that gets money from the government that is fighting against deportation of illegals, against ICE. So we're funding the other side of what ICE is trying to do.
Yeah, so the government is funding a fight against itself.
Yes.
Backed by George Soros.
It's incredible. This last organization,
Allianz Americas.
8.5 million from Health and Human.
Another one backed by Soros to help the government fight against itself, to the extent that we help now fund George Soros' vision of the future.
That's right. Big final hour still ahead.